Welcome to FantasyFran.com. I'm Sports Crazy Chris Barnes. With me, as always, Hall of Fame quarterback Mr. Fran Tarkenton, and it is the 2012 playoff edition of FantasyFran.com. Doesn't get any better than this, Fran.
We got wild cards.
Absolutely. Well, let's start right off the bat. First game of the day, Houston going up against the Bengals. In Houston, Houston's a 3-point favorite. T.J. Yates, they're saying, is going to play, but he injured his shoulder last week against Tennessee. Doesn't make a difference.
How about Houston winning their division, playing 4 different quarterbacks? Their last game or two, they have Jake Delhomme, who's the 4th straight quarterback. T.J. Yates, 5th-round draft choice rookie. Says something about their team, their coaches, and what they've done. They've lost their number one defensive player of the year, the great pass rusher
Mario Williams.
Andre Johnson, and one of the great receivers, has been out a lot of the year. And yet they have won their division and they're in the position. They're playing a team with a rookie quarterback. We got 2 rookie quarterbacks going in the playoffs. Cincinnati is an emerging team. They have A.J. Green, who's going to be a superstar. Great threat at wide receiver. Andy Dalton has played as well as any rookie quarterback the entire year. I think this franchise is really stable. They play good defense. Houston is the most underrated defensive team in football. They have, in a year when we've had no defense, Houston has had defense. With all that said, I like Cincinnati on the road, and I like them to win the game, even though they're 3-point underdogs. Tough game, tough matchup. I like Cincinnati.
All right, now going on to the next game.
Yep.
It's an interesting game. You got the Detroit Lions
Yep.
going up against the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans in the Dome. Who do you like?
First of all, I think they'll break the 100-point barrier. Last week, Detroit plays Green Bay with a backup quarterback, and he throws for 480 yards against Detroit. You would think Drew Brees may throw for 1,000. I don't think either team can stop the other one that much. But New Orleans plays better defense than Green Bay, and they play better defense than Detroit. New Orleans runs the ball better than Green Bay or Detroit.
Well, and I know you really like Darren Sproles, too.
I like Sproles, and I like that Pierre guy, too.
Pierre Garcon.
Garcon, I like him, too. They can run the ball even though Ingram is out.
Right.
But they've got so many weapons. They got the monster tight end,
Jimmy
Jimmy Graham. 6'8", 500 pounds, lifts tall buildings. He's Superman. I like New Orleans in this by a large sum.
Really?
I really think that they will win this game. I think they'll win it going away. The first time Detroit's been in a playoff in 100 years. They've had a good year. I don't know why their defense is not better, but it's just god-awful. I like New Orleans.
Well, and were you concerned with what you saw out of Detroit's defense last week going up against Green Bay?
Yeah, but they've been bad all year.
Gotcha.
I mean, they don't stop anybody. And they've got Sue and Wu, and they got all these great defensive linemen, but doesn't make any difference. Detroit just opens up and people run up and down the field.
Okay, well, now we go to the NFC.
Yep.
Atlanta Falcons going up against the New York Giants in New Jersey.
Intriguing matchup here.
Okay.
This is one of the most interesting matchups of the. Atlanta is not great, but they're not bad at anything. They have less holes than most of the teams. Defense okay, offense okay, but it's not like their secondary is terrible. They're not.
Right.
However, New York has got some momentum coming down. They lost 4 straight games early in the season. That's a death wish. You can't get in the playoffs, but they won their division. They won 3 of their last 4 games.
Right.
And the 4th game, the one they didn't win, was Green Bay. They played them 38-35. Eli's had his best year. They've got a little receiver, Cruz, who's just come out of nowhere to be a superstar. It's the best pass rushing line probably left in the playoffs right now is the New York Giants. Their defense has played in the last 3 weeks at a high level. They've been one of the most productive defenses in football the last 3 weeks. Atlanta doesn't protect the passer great. They got tremendous receivers. Matty Ryan is clever and good and a great pro. They can run the ball. But in this game, you got a dome team going outside in New York to play in cold weather. Giants are hot. I like the Giants in this game, and I think Are they favored in this game or not? Whatever they are,
The Giants are favored by 3.
And I think they'll cover the 3. I think they'll win the game. But this is an intriguing matchup. It could go either way.
The Giants secondary against the Atlanta receivers and Tony Gonzalez doesn't scare you?
Yeah. But their secondary's been injured all year. They've had problems all year. But I'll say this. The last few weeks, they played a whole lot better. And, Aaron Rodgers, 3 or 4 weeks ago, got 38 points against them, but he didn't get 100.
Right.
And so, this offense, Atlanta's not quite Green Bay's offense.
Right, exactly. And then finally, the Pittsburgh Steelers, of all teams, have to travel to play the Denver Broncos and Tim Tebow. What do you got?
Oh. It's painful. Pittsburgh, easy. I know Roethlisberger's a little injured. They got their running back, Mendenhall, is out. But, I love the Tebow. We all love the Tebow story. But here's the facts of the matter. Last week, it completed 2 passes out of 6. Their team got 3 points. In the modern-day football, when we had 80-some points with Green Bay and Detroit, they get 2 points. Their defense only gave up 7 points, but they lost 7-3. The week before that, Tebow completes 6 passes. We're in the playoffs. It'll take a miracle for Denver to win. Did I say miracle? We've seen it before, haven't we? But it's gotten worse. I mean, their passing game, if possible, has gotten worse. The last 2 weeks, it's non-existent. Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh. They're great. I mean, this is a great organization. They got great players. I think Pittsburgh runs away with the game. The only factor is the Tebow factor.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing is the Steelers are the #1 ranked defense in the league in points allowed.
Yep.
And the Denver Broncos are the 25th ranked team in points scored.
Yeah.
So clearly you have to like Pittsburgh, but I got to ask you, are teams figuring out how to defense Tim Tebow?
Well, what they've done is gone to his old Florida spread formation, and they're running the ball, mostly running the ball with him. And that's a pretty effective, that's been pretty effective for him. Pro game, they can stop the run. And Pittsburgh will stop the run. They will force Tebow to pass. And God bless him. I hope he can get better in the offseason. Right now, he's just a terrible passer. I mean, he's just a terrible passer. I hope he can get better, but I doubt it.
Well, fair enough. We'll see what happens. But make sure to join us next week because we'll follow up with all of the playoff games of next week. But also, while you're here on the site, go ahead and check all of the projections and picks, especially for those of you folks that are in fantasy leagues for the playoffs. So we'll have all of the picks, all of Fran's comments. We appreciate you joining us here at fantasyfran.com.